Welcome to Renewing Me. My name is T, and I just want to talk about some things that I've learned from my past relationship. And with naming this channel Renewing Me, it is because I have gone through a lot of changes since I've had my son, and I have realized some things about myself, like what triggers me, what brings up certain emotions, what I like, what I don't like, what I thought I liked, but it was really because that's what I was taught. So yeah. Anyway, so my last relationship was 5 years ago, and it lasted for 2 years. And I knew this person. I met this person in college, and then we ended up reconnecting in I said 5 years ago, but we ended up reconnecting in 2018, 19, something like that. And he ended up getting a job, or his job ended up transferring him to Florida. And so I ended up moving in with him. And we weren't together for that long, probably a month maybe. I know that's crazy, but I felt like it was meant to be that way so that I could learn these things about myself. So the relationship was 2 years, and I mean, it was fine, but it just made me realize a couple of things. And the first thing that I realized after the breakup is that I really don't want to get married. The whole marriage thing was instilled in me by my parents. They have been married for almost 40 years, and especially my mother is really big on marriage. I feel like that is her whole identity. And I just realized I don't see the benefits for myself, other than maybe financially. We were splitting the bills, so it was easy in that sense. But other than that, I just don't see how it could benefit me. Like, I was doing everything. We had 2 big dogs. I was walking them 3 times a day. I was cooking, cleaning, grocery shopping, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, no. Marriage is not for me. Yeah, so after we broke up and I came back home is when I was really like thinking about these things. And I was like, okay, yeah, I don't want that. And it's funny because I remember when I first started teaching, that was my profession, teaching. I remember thinking like, I could not afford to raise a child on the salary. And I told my mother that, and she was like, well, if you had a husband, you could. And I was like, oh, yeah, if I did have one of those. But it's funny, like that never crossed my mind. Like, I could raise a child with a husband and afford to raise a child. That never crossed my mind. Okay, the second thing that I learned is that I can only protect myself. I feel like nobody else can protect me but me. And I say this because when I was in Florida, like, I always had men try to talk to me, like, of all backgrounds. And I remember one time I went to Walmart, and the Walmart worker was following me. Like, I knew he was following me because I would go to one aisle and he would be there, and he would like moving stuff like this, like not really doing anything but pretending to do something. And I told my boyfriend at the time, and he like made this joke about it, and I was like, that's not funny. Like, we joked all the time, but this is my safety. That's not funny. And the fact that I was walking the dogs late at night, yeah, you didn't care about my safety. And I would tell him, like, I don't feel comfortable getting in the Uber. It's a stranger. I don't feel comfortable. And he would kind of brush it off and stuff. And I'm not saying that's all men, but that's just how I felt and how I feel now. Yeah. Probably the only man that I trust to protect me, like in a physical sense, would be my father. This is the last and final thing. I realized that I genuinely enjoy living by myself. Like, it was fine. It was okay living with him. We got along, besides the fact that I was doing everything. And that was more towards the end that I was doing everything. But So when we broke up, I ended up coming back to my parents' house, and my whole plan was to save and get a house. But then, you know, I'm grown and I'm in my parents' house and my mother, and I'm just like, no. So I end up moving out and getting an apartment in a different state. And once I got in that apartment, I just felt like I could just breathe. I was just like, oh my goodness, I miss this. And it's funny, like when you're single and you're looking for a relationship, like, I don't know, you just thinking about, you want that relationship. But once I got out of it and I was by myself, this thing always cuts off. But once I got out of it and I was by myself, I was like, oh my goodness, I only have to wash my clothes, because he wanted all his t-shirts hung up. I hated that anyway. I don't have to worry about what someone else wants for dinner. I can just go out and get what I want. Like, it was just me and my girl Jada, my dog. But one more thing that I have learned about myself through that relationship is that I don't really like taking on other people's problems. Like, when I'm in a relationship, I will, and I'll, you know, be loving and helpful and all that. But relationships are really hard, and I don't like doing that. Like, I have my own problems that I want to worry about. And now that I have a son, I have his, whatever problems that he has, I have to take that one too. So, you know, I don't like it. This is something else that I realized, not from that relationship, but just in general, is that I like when things are new, but once it starts to get old, I'm ready to, I got ADHD. I'm ready to go. That's probably why I'm only good in a relationship for 2 years, and then I started to get tired. So that is what I have learned. And, you know, things are not forever, so I may feel this way now, even though I feel like I will always feel this way. But I may feel this way now, and then later on, maybe I'll change my mind. I don't know. Probably not. But thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment about anything that you have learned from your past relationships, and subscribe. Bye.